Now for our featured story of the day, Mike Saylor. He says Bitcoin is the only crypto asset that will get the SEC approval for the ETFs. I'm also going to be sharing his latest thoughts and price actions. He believes Bitcoin can do 425x, sending Bitcoin to a mere $10 million per coin. I also want to get his insights on the Bitcoin halving. So let's dive right in, shall we? And welcome those just joining the stream. Happy Sat Stacking Saturday. Let's start with this tweet. I transcribed, and this is actually pinned on my X account right now because I can really appreciate the insights Saylor dropped here. I know we got close to 50,000 views on it. That's what's up. But anyways, quoting Mike Saylor, at the end of the day, you can tell everybody to go F themselves. You can put it in your head, memorize the freaking key. Oh yeah, my Bitcoin, I lost it on a boating accident. Tax that. That's the most gangster quote I have ever heard in my life, hence why it's pinned on my X account. If you're on X, be sure to retweet it or repost it. I appreciate it. Now, here's another bullish prediction he made, which I transcribed from a video. And I want to read this to you, and then I'm going to be sharing his latest insights and brand new article more recently published regarding that he believes the SEC is only ever going to approve the Bitcoin ETF and that ETH will not get that green light. So anyways, he says, because Bitcoin is just pure money, it's just as effective at 100,000 a coin as 10,000 a coin, and at $1 million a coin is just as effective, and at 10 million a coin is probably more compelling at 10 million a coin than 1 million or 100,000 a coin. Now, it's kind of universally scalable asset that gets less risky. The only thing that's going to change my opinion is when it was super risky and scary below 10,000, you were getting 100 to 200% a year annualized gains. And then it got a bit more understandable. Between 10,000 and 100,000, your gains go to 40 or 50% per year. And then at some point, they go to 30 and then 20. And in the extreme, if everybody in the world understood Bitcoin, it would be 20, 30, 40% of the wealth of the world. Check it, yo. So it would be $200 to $300 trillion in today's dollars. Let that sink in, bro. Because right now, the crypto market cap is less than 3 trillion. So you run the math. And when the price would be appreciating at that rate of global inflation in the fiat currency, referring to the US dollar, so if the gold inflation rate remains a 7, it would still remain a 7, and then it would appreciate a little bit more because the productivity of the people that adopt it as a treasury reserve asset. So long live the Giga Chad. Let me know your thoughts on that. Now, he also recently spoke regarding Ethereum not getting the same kind of spot ETF approval from the SEC. So I want to break this one down for you as well.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay, what's the second best? There is no second best.
So here we go. Saylor said in the earnings call yesterday that Bitcoin is the one crypto asset that a publicly traded company can hold on its balance sheet and can capitalize upon. It is the one crypto asset that Wall Street firms are going to be able to sell on a spot ETF basis. The entire modern institutional asset economy, the options market, the securities market, the money manager system, the institutional mutual funds, the institutional ETFs, they're all going to be centered around Bitcoin as the digital property going forward.
I'm not saying I'm number one. I'm sorry, I lied. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Now, we all know MicroStrategy was the first publicly traded company to put the Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And since then, it set the blueprint, it set the precedent for other major companies to do the same, which actually happened like a domino effect, which is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? For example, we even had a country, El Salvador, adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. We even had Tesla. We had, I guess he's connected with Elon, obviously, was his other company, SpaceX. Now you have other companies in other countries like Japan, etc., putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. You got to remember, there's a lot of very wealthy companies. Think of I hate Microsoft because I hate its founder, but nonetheless, think of companies like Microsoft, Apple, retailers like Walmart, online biggest marketplace in the world, Amazon. What if they were to adopt Bitcoin? They're sitting on all this excess cash at the end of the day. And they need to park it somewhere so that don't disappear like a melting ice cube, as Saylor once eloquently described keeping fiat in the bank. And we already know how he feels in regards to those who treat fiat as a store of value. May I remind you? Take it away, Saylor.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
Is that true? Do you buy Bitcoin to specifically sell it at a profit, as that news interview lady shared to Michael Saylor? Let me know. Was your intention of buying Bitcoin to sell it at a profit? I'm just curious, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. Nothing wrong at all. I'm just curious, you guys specifically in the chat, let me know.
People that use fiat
Lovers.
currency as a store of value.
What do we call them? Let me know in the chat, family. Don't be shy. Don't be a stranger. This is a live and interactive show for a reason. I'm lighting the stage to step up the stream to the next level. If you're ready to take this up a couple of notches, let me know, broskies.
We call them poor. We call them poor. People.
And let me know regarding some of his predictions. And can you see a $300 trillion market cap in crypto, considering I think the all-time high was in the 3 trillion range. So he's ultimately saying we can do 100x what we've already achieved as the all-time high. Now, what if Bitcoin were to 100x from here? Then you're looking at that $6 million Bitcoin price. What if the dollar was to hyperinflate? Then you can start thinking about, whoa, Bitcoin can literally hit 100 million or 10x 100 million and hit $1 billion. Then Jurrien Timmer had a macro over at one of the larger asset management firms, Fidelity, $4.5 trillion asset manager. He predicted Bitcoin hitting $1 billion by 2038. How can that be? Well, that's if the dollar hyperinflated. That's if hyper-Bitcoinization is birthed due to the inflation or hyperinflation of the dollar. If the dollar literally collapsed, what do you think that's going to do? How do you think that's going to impact the Bitcoin price? Bitcoin is ultimately the opposite of the dollar. Bitcoin will do the opposite of what the dollar does. The dollar has a unalive sentence. It's destiny. Just as all fiat currency that come before it, it all returns to its original intrinsic value. Fact, right? Which is zero, because at the end of the day, it's a Ponzi. We all know that. So what's going to happen to Bitcoin when the dollar literally goes to zero? Oh my God, how can you even compare it to the US dollar? It would have no relevance. The dollar becomes the BitConnect coin, goes to zero, right? So who knows? Maybe at that point, they can only compare Bitcoin to a more stable asset. Maybe gold. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts, Joe. But yes, many countries' currency has hyperinflated already. I look at the US dollar as the big boss. You know what I mean? And eventually, all that fiat is going to go to zero against the apex predator. Only a matter of time. You know what I mean? So again, purchasing power is mathematically guaranteed to increase in Bitcoin, and your purchasing power in the dollar is mathematically guaranteed to decrease in fiat monopoly money. So that's all you need to know. You'll be able to have freedom with the more Bitcoin you have. And if you're treating fiat currency as a store of value,
That use fiat currency.
we know what we call them. Come on now.
We call them poor. We call them poor.
Sheila says, yes, Bitcoin is for decades. Altcoins are for the profits. I'll spend my cash and hold my Bitcoin, says Ellen. Guys, how long till the exchanges run out of the Bitcoin? I think it'll happen within the year, within the next 12 months. I think the window, like realistically, between 6 to 12 months. It could take as much as 18 months, anywhere from 6 to 18 months. So the average, if I had to guess, I'd say 12 months from now. This time next year, there may be no Bitcoin available on the exchanges. They say there's roughly 1.8 million. And I base this prediction off the top analytical firms in the world. And, you know, data. It's not just me making it up. Like Crypto Quant, we have covered many times talking about the supply shock running out of the Bitcoin on the exchanges. Numbers must go up. You guys already know. French philosopher Voltaire, circa 1720, all fiat eventually returns to its intrinsic value. Thank you, Greg. And I appreciate you with the quote all the time because that's how I just memorized it today from reading your comment every day. I didn't say I would say I can judge biblical entertainment. You can cash is king for the car. I can buy one or more Bitcoin because I have dealers that take Bitcoin around me. Nice. Yes, even some of the top car dealerships, including Ferrari, accept Bitcoin. Use fiat to pay the taxes? Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's use cases for fiat. When I closed out my bank in Florida, because specifically didn't want to support the bank and I didn't want money in the bank, I took the fiat out and then I donated it to a charity here in Puerto Rico. I mean, fiat does have use cases. You could definitely help someone in need. You can even buy some Bitcoin with it. So don't get it twisted. But we all know that your purchasing power is doomed. So dollars are not for saving. Putting money in the bank to save is a very bad idea. Obviously, we put money in the bank, most of us, to pay the bills, just convenience. And I would say only keep in the bank what you can afford to lose, because we may wake up one day and your dollar becomes effectively worthless when it comes to purchasing power. That day will happen in our lifetime, in my humble opinion. And it could happen within the next few years. It could happen within the next epoch of this presidential election. A lot of ish may hit the fan. We don't know what's going to happen. But one thing's for sure. Continued chaos, economic and financial terrorists will continue to do what they do best. And Bitcoin will continue to do what it does best, which is numbers go up, giving human beings perfect money, the ability to save something that will enhance their prosperity and enhance their overall freedom and sovereignty in life. Fiat, on the other hand, if you just continue to work for fiat and you don't put any of that fiat away to buy the Bitcoin and position yourself to be a holder of Bitcoin, it's going to be very rough because they're going to have you buy the BALLS. Why is that? Because there's something called CBDCs, and because we're on YouTube, I can't get deep into it, but their intentions are not pure. Their intentions are not to help you. Their intentions are to financially cripple and control you. And if you think otherwise, I don't know what planet you think you're living on, but that's just the way of the world. Confucius says, buy, stack, and chill. Be the Bitcoin and no worries. Amen to that. Light some sage. Stack some biddies. Grab yourself a brewski, whether it's kombucha or whatever you enjoy, and do what you do best. You know what I mean? CBD vapes only, Bitcoin fam. Exactly. CBD is excellent. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. CBDC, I wouldn't touch it with a 10 million foot pole because it's evil. And I try to stay far away from Satan.